Okay. Give me a second. Give me a second. I tried pulling it up on my computer, but I need to. Can you go grab the earphone? I'll do it. He's got it over there. I didn't grab it because I could plug that into my computer. Yeah, but I couldn't get the application up. I tried, and it said that I didn't have a device. Website, it says no video or audio capture device are found. No, this is my Mac. That's why I was confused by it. It's a Mac. Everything's built in. I've done lots of things with it. I don't know why it would be giving me that message. Let's see if plug in this. I'm going to try it on a different browser. We're live? Of course we are. All right then. Hey guys, welcome. Sorry about that. We're live at the NAMM show. Welcome to yet another installation of B.A.C. Musical Instruments live broadcast for the 2021 Believe in Music Week at NAMM. We're going to be talking about a wonderful thing today. Earlier in the day, we had a conversation at school where the gentleman to my left, you're right, Matt Simner, attended. and talked about music business. Again, I'm the founder and president of B.A.C Musical Instruments, located here in Kansas City's historic Jazz District. We're going to be talking today with a couple of individuals, a few people that are very important to the world, and we're going to discuss why. And the topic of conversation is how we're going to be approaching a post-COVID world, I think. That's going to be part of what we're talking about. There's a lot of things that have changed in the music industry based on what's happened in the last 9-10 months. And some of these things will have a long-term effect on the music industry. Some may not be a long-term effect. They're more in the moment. One of the things that absolutely will not change is the repair and service department. And that's some of what we're going to dig into here. And I want to have the guy on my left introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Matt.
Matt. This is Matt. Attended Red Wing, Minnesota State College, Southeast Technical, located in Red Wing, Minnesota.
That is true.
That's true.
That's true.
A few years apart. Clearly, he's a younger guy than me, right?
I don't know. I'm getting older.
We're going to be joined today by the professors of that program. There are 3 programs in the United States that offer musical instrument repair, band instrument repair specifically. There's one in Renton, Washington, which is in the Pacific Northwest in the town of Renton, which is outside of Seattle. There's also Western Iowa Technical College, situated in Sioux City, Iowa. These are great programs. The third program is actually the larger of the the largest of the 3 programs, and happens to be the program that I graduated back in, I attended 1999 and 2000, and Matt graduated, when did you graduate from Red Wing?
2011.
Approximately 11. 2011. And we're going to be bringing on camera, I believe, 3 of the professors that teach, and we're going to have them tell us a little bit about this program, because the musical instrument repair sector is so important. There's been for years a void of skilled repair technicians in this industry, and these guys are digging in, doing their part to provide quality and skilled technicians for our industry, and I can't wait to dig into this conversation. So join us today, John Huth, Greg Beckwith, and John Maddox.
Hey guys.
Look at that.
Thanks for having me.
How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Good. Greg, how are you doing?
Greg is having technical difficulties.
Of course he is. Wait a second, he's the brass guy. You shouldn't have technical difficulties. That's the woodwind guy's job. It's all good. John, you know what? Let's start with you. I know that we're going to be you have a presentation. You're going to be giving us a little bit of a virtual tour. And hopefully, barring no technical difficulties, we'll be able to get through that. But just real quickly, John, can you give us a little bit of your experience? You've been at Red Wing for some time now.
Well, yeah, Mike, thank you. Well, and just to give you some background, the Red Wing, the repair school at Red Wing has been around since 1976. And through that time, we've educated students from all over the world, and they both come in and go out around the world. And our typical class size is 48. And our goal is to train technicians for entry-level work going into a repair shop that would either be independent or a music store. Many of our graduates have gone into manufacturing. One gentleman sitting right in front of you, Mr. Corrigan. Matt is bridging the two in terms of both as a repair tech manager as well as into manufacturing. So we're really proud of our graduates. And actually, John Maddox and Greg Beckwith, who are instructing here, are graduates of the program. We have, and you know what I want to do is I want to throw it to John right now to talk a little bit about just the diploma and options that we have.
Certainly. Well, as was said already, we're located inside of a community and technical college. So with that, we offer both a diploma program and an associate's program. Both have different general education requirements with them, but the core band instrument repair courses remain the same for both. We happen to be able to do a huge emphasis, obviously, on hands-on learning all day, every day when we're in the program, because
Nice.
that's what is required. To be able to do this, you've got to work with your hands. You've got to get skilled with your eyes, your hands, and how you think about what you're going to do related to these musical instruments, right? So we get the privilege of taking people that are really looking forward to advancing that side of their training, and we take them from sometimes next to nothing to accomplished, fundamental skilled technique.
Program most recently, you're the newest addition to the staff. What's been your experience since you've been there and just the time that you've been working with John and Greg?
Well, I have to say, firstly, it's just been incredible to come back and work on this side. After being a student, being on the advisory committee for the program, when I was out in the field as a technician, and then getting to come back and work with John and Greg as colleagues really has just been an incredible look at what all goes behind the scenes, with the program, right? Because as a student, you only have a certain perspective, right? And then when you're on the outside, you're in a shop and you're doing your stuff. So your perspective isn't the same as being an educator, like being here. And I can just say that I'm pretty blessed to get to work with someone like John and someone like Greg, whose experience level, not only in the repair field, but also just in touching the lives of people that want to come and learn this craft,
That's incredible. Now, I know Greg is there. He's still, it looks like, having some technical difficulties. Is that right?
I think so.
No worries. No worries. John, I want to tell you, didn't you study with Greg's father? Was he still at the program when you were there?
I did. I overlapped with Gene Beckford for about 5 years. And
That's awesome.
and at the time, the shops were probably 1/3 the size that they are now. We're now in 7,500 square feet of shop space. At the time, it was probably 3,000, if that. And so, no, a lot of changes since 76.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that a lot of people ask themselves, so I attended Red Wing directly out of high school. And a lot of people that see or think about a repair technician, I think they expect what I look like now. Older, gray-bearded individual in the back of a shop. Tell us a little bit about the students that attend the program today. Where are they coming from? From what walks of life?
There are two basically age divisions of our students, and Greg and John are getting situated over here, and they can come in. We do have students that still come out of high school. Probably a majority of our students are those that have either some college or who have completed college. And what happens very often is the typical pathway for a career in music is teaching, performing. Some go into music business, but there's a whole clientele that where those avenues may not be desirable. And they have an interest in either fixing instruments, or they have an interest in fixing and performing, or they have an interest in fixing and managing. For you, Michael, it was fixing and building, right? And music outside of performing and teaching, and we fit that bill. And I think the one thing that's really important is often, because it's accompanied by an interest in mechanics, there's a natural advocacy for musicians. I think many of our students come in knowing that the repair shop and the repair technician is the bridge between a student either staying in music and thriving or quitting. Because as we know, if the horn isn't working right, the music stops and the child will quit. And Greg and John, do you have anything to add to that?
Very well said.
No, I think that's great. And spoke to age and the desires really well. That really is what we need. And the career options that we go to after completion, we're actually going to see just what we see most of our students go into after their group.
Can you guys hear that?
No, we're having a hard time hearing that.
You know what, John? You're not coming through.
I'm sure it was profound, whatever it was he was saying.
Well, John, to keep the conversation going while they're figuring that out,
Sure.
John was
Sure.
echoing that aspect of the common denominator. And I think too, the thing about music instrument repair is for many, we're in an age of multiple income streams. So there are repair technicians who are repairing full time, and then they're able to still play on the weekends, or they're teaching still. Matt, you went into management, but you understand the role of the repair shop and how it can be within a repair shop or a music store.
Yeah, and from my perspective, it's always something that you can lean back on, right? No matter what you're doing, you always have that skill set, even if it's rusty at times.
Well, and I think too, the one thing that's really important is because repair technicians are musicians. When a child or even a professional comes in, the repair technician often understands the language that musicians speak. And you as professional technicians, if a player's coming in and they just say the horn feels funny, you kind of then can work out exactly what mechanically or acoustically is happening to match what they're expressing. So there's that connection that repair techs speak the language.
Right. Now, John Maddox, I've got a question for you. What is the expectation for a student that comes out of this program when they're done? Are they coming out of the program and starting their own shop?
Well, first, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we got you now. Yep.
Sweet. So, no, typically our students are not coming out ready to start a business and start their own shop. Be considered an advanced apprentice that is ready to go into another shop environment and get, your continued education in the shop with another seasoned technician, helping to kind of finish that education with repetition and check over of what you're doing, right? So I think in our craft, another aspect of this that, we facilitate at the beginning of their journey, and that's one thing that we try to drive home to our students as they're looking for their next step once they leave school is, is this a place where you're going to continue to learn? Are you going to continue to be mentored by someone there? Are you going to be left in the back 40 to dry? So that's something that, I think is really unique about what we do is that we are relational within our own shops with those that have come before us. And I know that's something that speaks to the heart of what you have done in your, learning of this craft too.
Sure. Now, Greg, I've got this to kind of compliment on that, just to talk a little bit more about this program, and then we're going to invite you, again, if we can watch, I believe you've got a tour that we might be able to have a virtual tour of the shop. But before we do that, I want to pull Greg into the conversation. One of the things that I love about the program, how are you doing today? One of the things I love about Red Wing is your approach holistically to the program is prepared to go out into the field. They understand things like nomenclature, they understand tools and how to facilitate and handle the tools. And your position as the brass repair professor there, you're not just showing somebody how to use one single tool, you're showing a technician or a student there how to repair this thing with a variety of different techniques. Can you explain why you do that?
Well, exactly. Mike, as you know, there's lots of ways to do things right. And you're going to find the processes, because the processes, the outcomes are always the same at the highest level, the highest standard. But everybody's going to find their way, what's comfortable for them, what's handling what tool, what technique they're going to gravitate to. And we won't pigeonhole and say, you can only do this, and you can only use this, and we'll introduce them to as much, but within some parameters too. So we don't set them out into the field and they just don't know how to plow or plant, So
right.
I'm glad you mentioned the nomenclature, right? How the instrument works. So how all these instruments in the band field work, everything that can be wrong with them, the diagnosis, the evaluation, the observation, the troubleshooting, the problem solving, all that stuff, and then bringing the tooling into it. How can we accomplish this end goal? We know what our standard, I know what I want this dent to look like. What do I have available to me that I can get there, to accomplish that. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's why we're trying to stay at the cutting edge of new developments and new tooling, and be aware of what's out there and what our suppliers are providing, our tool makers are providing. And it's a really wonderful, we're kind of a think tank here because we have so many students too. So we're pretty privileged.
So it's as much as about the thought process as what you're doing.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's so beautiful. I'm going to come back to that point in a moment, because this is going to be an eloquent way of articulating a point for all of those music stores out there that are considering what product they want to put in the back of the shelves for rental purposes. This is going to be a beautiful little circle I'll come back to. But before we do that, John, do you have that tour ready to go?
I do. Just a moment here, and
right.
just let me know if this works here. I'm going to put it on.
And while you're doing that, I'll say, Greg, in the spirit of that last comment that you had there, when I started this career coming out of Red Wing, the very first thing I did was DCI mobile repair, and I had to do a lot with a very little bit. And challenging my brain, I think, made me a better technician. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here we go. We've got a new video here. Charles, could you pull the screen up? We're going to John's screen now. Oh, boy.
Can you see it? Can you see it?
So what you see here, the shot of the woodland with students at work at the bench. Every bench is outfitted with things needed in the woodland lab, like bench mold, settle tank, sander,
is and where students can work, and the tooling that they won't have themselves with their hand tools, we supply all the rest. There you see tent rods and trombone rods. Mike Corrigan, trombone rods. There's the screen there. You can see my dog on my boat. There's me. And there's a student coming up to see what's going on with this project, and you get a good shot there.
Now, one thing that's really recent is just the Mike, you talk about creativity, the needing to adapt or make parts, because instruments are coming from sources where parts may not be always available. So our machine shop, our common shop, is where we can actually draw tubing, we can do valve fitting. You can see that we have standard sanders and grinders that every shop should have. But I think the big thing that you're going to see right here are, you can see a whole bank of more standing metal lathes. And our students go out with the fundamentals of how to operate a lathe: drilling, turning, face, and then custom parts. For instance, as it applies to clarinet repairs or brass repairs. So the common shop is something that we're always investing in. And that's the 50-cent tour.
Thank you for preparing that. That's incredible. You highlighted just a couple of really beautiful things for us to talk about here. As you pointed out, for having a skilled repair person in any repair shop nowadays, we run into a situation where there are so many instruments that fall into two categories, and one of these categories is a growing category. One category might be that it's an instrument that's been out of production for 20 or 30 years, and so there aren't parts available. and you guys are exploring, ways of producing a part that would be appropriate for an instrument that needs, a replacement part. The other category that's growing is a lot of instruments out there that just don't have parts to support their brand. And one of the things that, just the mere fact that I have here to my left, a gentleman that sat on the board of the National Association for Professional Band Instrument Repair Technicians, NAPERT. Just the mere fact that the two of us attended the program that we're talking about right now, and that we're having this session here at the NAMM show for 2021 should underscore and articulate to any music retail owner out there how important it is to us that we have a product that we can support and that we have parts available for the repair shops out there around the country. And we talked about that in a presentation I gave on Tuesday, whether if you've got a child, maybe in a military family, for example, they're stationed at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, and then they get restationed to Hanscom Air Force Base in Massachusetts, they know that they could get a part for that clarinet or that trumpet. So having parts available is a big deal, and I think that's awesome. The other thing that I wanted to point out is we talk about these tools, right? There's lots of tools that you can use to get the job done. Well, that's an eloquent way of pointing out that B.A.C. would be a wonderful tool for your music store. I'm just saying.
Well, Mike, to piggyback on that, I think the one thing that's really important to emphasize within that is that just because it looks like a music instrument doesn't mean that it actually is one. Often kids get instruments in their hands where the key work is so soft, or acoustically it's basically non-functional. So not only did they spend money on something that doesn't work, that child is now out of band. And so with people like yourselves, where your instruments, you understand what students need, your repair technicians, so that the instruments that you're providing, are going to hold up and that they're going to play out of the gate.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. In that presentation that we gave on Tuesday, I actually talk about the origin story of B.A.C. and the significance of the trip down to New Orleans those early years, because people were donating these instruments that you're talking about to the schools down in New Orleans post Hurricane Katrina. And they thought, hey, I could help 20 kids out, so I'm going to donate 20 clarinets. And then the band directors would say, hey, horn doctor, could you check out these clarinets? None of them work. They're all brand new out of the box. And the reality is, rather than helping anybody, they were receiving 20 really bad instruments, that didn't work. So it would have been a much better investment to get a lesser number of quality instruments. And that's the spirit of where B.A.C. apprentice instruments came from. So I appreciate that. Now, let's ask them some questions about the program. And the way that, one of the things we wanted to talk about is how the post-COVID world might be changing the music industry. That's one of the things that we were exploring yesterday. Do you have any specific? We've got a bunch of questions.
Yeah. So what is your job placement rate percentage?
I've been there. Currently, we've been sitting pretty consistently at about 98%, meaning that if someone wants a job, there's a job available. Because as you said earlier, Mike, the repair shop doesn't stop. When we have things that are going on, changing in the world, music, it will always be a constant in some form or fashion. And as we know, with mechanical things, musical instruments are always going to need to be repaired or restored. And we may see more and more, as I know you guys probably are, of people looking to do more restoration maybe than buy new. And your repair shop can facilitate and be a profit center for your business, in these times.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Our restoration department has grown exponentially.
Yeah, absolutely. You pointed out that we're in a unique position, which is fantastic for B.A.C. because we're a growing company. We're in the grand picture of the music industry, we're a small company, but we are growing. And what's beautiful for us is we're maintaining the same amount of growth we have, but rather than picking up the speed we might have if COVID hadn't happened, the areas that are picking up tremendously are things like repair and restoration. And so we might see an opportunity, we've been discussing this, where we may be producing more parts to support some of our partners and dealers. We've acquired the Benge brand recently, and we've been getting more and more calls for people looking for new Benge lead pipes and things like that. John.
I didn't know that.
Now you do.
Oh, John, come on, man.
Oh my God. I want one.
We got lots of catching up to do, John. Come
We'll
on.
send you one of the prototypes.
So we've been getting more calls about things like Benge lead pipes and stuff like that. So we could see that being an area of growth for our own business. And that's another way that we can help support the dealers that are working with B.A.C. and another way for us to ignite new relationships with companies that we don't work with yet. So that's an exciting thing, and it kind of underscores the importance of your service department. The other thing we'll point out, and I did want to ask you this, how did things transpire? Obviously, there was a lot of unexpectedness surrounding COVID last year. How did that affect the program?
Well, you want to go good? Why don't you jump in?
Nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, we have to commend our administration and leadership. The communication, the cooperation, the ability to have our students on site and to figure out how we could do that is pretty remarkable.
Right.
You think about any other education setting where students are doing it all online, this had to be hands-on, and they made
Absolutely.
it possible for us. So one of the first thing is we asked to cap the class, make it a little bit smaller. So that meant we spread things out. And then we put abiding by the CDC and the health protocols in place in communication with our college-wide COVID plan. We aligned that for BIR, and that meant spacing things out, wiping things down, doing a health screening as they enter the room, having sanitizing at the end of the day on common areas. And the students have been terrific in cooperation. And we can say that all but 3 days of the first semester, and we just had a couple people that tested positive, and we decided to shut down a little bit early. We were in person on site teaching like we always have, just
Awesome.
with a smaller group. So the smaller group helped, and the spacing out helped. We created more tooling. We had some extra tooling. We got support there and funding there. So it's really been remarkable how we've been able to do this. But obviously,
one of the reasons I wanted to talk about that was because this is, again, the kind of thing that we want our partners out there to have an understanding of, is that there are some fundamental roadblocks in the world that, for example, having to scale back the class size is a reality that everyone has to deal with, because of maintaining health guidelines and things like that. So in a world where we have a shortage of skilled repair people, we have one of the strongest institutions for providing that training has to be careful, obviously. And so if you're a store and looking for employees, right now is the time where you got to reach out to the program and try to snag one of these technicians that are going to be looking for a job.
Yep.
It also underscores and highlights the reality that, you guys might need to grow your program. For future years. You're going to have to knock out and have a whole wing. Maybe we could have a little manufacturing area where
you can sponsor the B.A.C. wing.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, let's see here. This has been great so far. I want to open it up to you guys. Do you have any observations or questions you want to inject before we go on with anything else?
No, keep going, guys.
All right, good
This is
deal.
working well.
If a student wants to perform, let's see here. Yeah, one of the things I love about repair, and this is one of the things. If you're a musician, this is just beautiful. You can still be a performer and do your repair thing, right? You got your repair gig during the day, and you have performing at night. So that's one of the beautiful things that involve with the repair world. What other things do you know about in the repair community where a repair person has the opportunity to be so versatile. I mean, you've got guys working from home, guys and gals, that have the opportunity of working from home with small repair shops. What are some of the other things that you see that might be a little bit more innovative because of COVID this year? How has that kind of changed the approach this year? Do you have any thoughts?
You know, I'll jump in that, and I don't know how universal this is, but I think one thing that's arisen is that if a person is limited in their ability to get to the shop, or if the shop work is down, very often that downtime is used to ensure that the in-house inventory is up to speed. But also, you know, Mike, you touched on the restoration side, but also the cool part about band instrument repair is that you can do everything, and while you're doing everything, you can start to specialize. And so there's that kind of cottage growth where if people want to specialize, there's that opportunity now. And so it's a career that can go on in terms of just where you want to go.
You know, and I know you know this, Mike, but for others out there, it touches so many different worlds all at the same time in repair. I can get better at, you know, machining. I can get better at, you know, design and computer animation. I can get into the world of 3D printing and all of that stuff nowadays. You know, and I think silversmithing and jewelry and, you know, all kinds of things that we touch on in this world of musical instrument repair that's unique, you know, that you can continue to learn and develop skills and develop new loves within this field for the rest of your life, you know.
Right.
Well said.
Awesome. Do you have anything?
So, when referring to a student, how should they prepare?
All right. So if you think that they're somebody that might be fit, you know, you see somebody that you're thinking, well, I think they might be inclined towards this profession. You know, that's really what we're after. You know, there is that you have someone that obviously has some musical ability that is paired with some mechanical mindness. You know, that they have a curiosity about how things work and they want to know more, right? And I think that curiosity or that spark is kind of what drives you to go, well, I want to know how that works. And I want to know, well, how does that function? How would I get into this? You know, and I think when we see the merging and the melding of the person that has some mechanical aptitude with that love for music, they seem to find their way to us one way or another. Yeah. So if you ever see somebody, you know, out there that you're like, you know, I really see that in you, send them our way. We'd love to have them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I dig it.
So if you found that person and they were wanting to go to the school, what's the cost structure of the school? How do you get it? Who do you talk to? How do you get involved? All that.
Sure.
Well, the first thing that you want to do is contact the college. And we're just like every other college in that we have admissions personnel. But it's really typical that the first point of contact is we instructors. And what we don't have, I'll see if I can put it on screen, but our email address is really simple. It's bandinstrumentrepair2@southeastmn.edu. And you can just contact us via email. And very often it starts off with the question, I'm interested in doing this. What does it take? Can I see the shops? And then we take it from there, actually. So a lot of the interface happens first with the instructor. So if you contact us directly, then it goes really well. The cost in terms of the diploma program, if you take all of the necessary general education courses, which is only 2, if you throw in tuition and tools and fees and all that, it's in around $10,000. Now, as a community college, we have financial aid available. We also have a bucket of scholarships that students take advantage of to defray the cost.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to point out, because here we are, right? we're on this virtual experience. I know that you guys, in talking with some of your students, I'll give a little shout out to Mr. Stark, Justice Stark there, who's had an opportunity to come down and check out our facility a few weeks ago. We've got a lot of experiences where we've been doing these Zoom meetings all the time. And I know that you have had different alumnists and different people from the industry Zoom in to provide some benefit for your students there, to talk about what they do and talk about their perspective in the industry. So now we've got another reality here. How can we leverage that to improve a situation at a music store? Because what B.A.C has done is we've had these training sessions with our partners to talk about our product and say, hey, let's get your sales staff on. Let me walk your entire sales staff through all of the B.A.C products and talk about what we do and the parts and all this kind of stuff. Generally, I only have that opportunity to do that with the buyers and the owners sometimes. And maybe if I'm lucky and I'm at the store, I get to meet and engage with a couple of their employees. But now here we have a situation where, as technicians, I wonder if you guys might agree with this, but we might see Zoom become part of the diagnostic side of things for, hey, I dropped my horn, you know, I Zoom into the repair technician at the store and I say, look, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on maybe on a woodwind instrument. Maybe it's not going to be practical for brass, but I don't know what's going on. My E flat doesn't work. What are your thoughts about that?
You know, I think it opens a whole new world where, just like you said, I mean, we immediately back in, March of last year when all of this started, how many of us were on Zoom before then, and all of a sudden it became the standard like overnight. And I know for us, we all three had to jump in and learn and, dig in. So like you said, this year, because of that facility, right, we can bring somebody in virtually, have them share experience with the students, or be able to even do clinics for students and things like that. I see that as a means not only for potential for training, as you say, but also just a connectivity to the repair shop or to the store that maybe didn't exist before.
Right.
Right.
And I think, to a point, right, as we know as technicians, you're going to be able to do some things in that format, and then the tech is probably going to say, why don't you bring it in? But
Right.
at least you can start a conversation, which also starts a relationship, right?
Right.
It's a
No,
piggyback.
I've actually had phone calls from, we had a good friend of the shop, Herman Mahari, who is in Paris. And he called because he was at a gig with one of his good friends. I won't say the name because he doesn't play on one of our horns, and I don't want to upset the company that he works with or whatever. That's fine. But Herman calls me and he says, this guy, who's a heavy trumpet player, has a valve problem. He's in the gig and he's on a set break, and he doesn't know what to do. And so I'm like, I'll put him on the phone. We're trying to diagnose what to do over the phone. You got a mouthpiece there? What do you got? You got a drumstick? And I'm doing this over the phone, and I'm thinking, I wish at the time we had like Zoom then. This was only a couple of years ago, but I think the whole world is embracing the change and thinking about things differently now. And I did get the valve working, by the way, but it was a little bit more challenging. It might have been easier with Zoom.
But to your point, I think the advantage of this is often the challenge that we have is, and you've experienced this too, where the instrument, that kind of relationship building that you can do virtually is not only can you kind of get a sense of what's going on, but you can then tell people what not to do so that the instrument is in good hand or is safe until it does get to the repair shop, so that a $50 repair bill doesn't turn into $500, which happens.
That's right. And that's the value of the because you can see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just that noise right there instantly stops people. Guys, I appreciate it. Do you have anything else you want to add to the deal?
No, thank you very much for coming on. I think this has been great.
Yeah, John and Greg from Minnesota State College Southeast Technical, located in Red Wing, Minnesota. It used to be called Red Wing Tech. Wasn't that easy.
True.
Minnesota State College Southeast Technical, located in Red Wing, Minnesota. One of the finest programs in all of the world, offering band instrument repair. We didn't talk about this, but we will also mention that they offer violin and orchestral string repair and guitar repair and building. We don't want to overlook that. Those are world-class programs.
I think they do refrigerator repair there.
They also do refrigerator repair. They do some HVAC. The nursing program's been on a boom, obviously. So check out the school. It's a wonderful school, and as you can tell right here, just some incredibly dedicated educators that work there. Guys, thank you for joining us this year on the very first ever virtual NAMM experience. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the season that you have with these students.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye now.
Good one.
For any more information about the B.A.C. musical instrument product, please visit our booth, the virtual booth at the NAMM show. You can go to our website, which is cool as BAC.com. You'll learn about the tremendous value model if you're a dealer looking to carry a great product. We have a full line of entry-level student woodwinds and brass instruments. We're the distributor for System Blue marching brass and percussion. And we've got a really wonderful line of professional artist series. And of course, the crown jewel is our custom handmade instruments and our handcraft horns that are made right here in the historic Jazz District of Kansas City.
And our horns have parts.
And our horns have parts. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Like us and share us on Facebook, Instagram, and all that other jazz. Thank you guys. See you later.